So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the action potential. So in order to do that, we need to look at this neuron, which is down here, and it has multiple ends, right? And we have the dendrites over here, and we have the axon terminal over here. And basically an action potential happens when you have a stimulus. So a stimulus could be getting pushed on your arm, right? Because then you have a touch happening. It could be pain. It could be stretching of a neuron. It could be a chemical response. So anything that kind of impacts a nerve or a neuron is going to cause an action potential. So the way that that happens is when a neuron is at rest and it is not activated, your neuron has negative charges inside. Okay, and so if we have this graph here, we're going to put like at rest. And so at rest, we actually have the voltage. It's going to be at negative 70 millivolts, negative 0.7. Okay, now when a stimulus happens, we are going to see something change. And what happens is that there are these little channels or these little spots on the edge of our membrane, and suddenly a whole bunch of sodium ions, which have a plus charge, and they have been outside the cell because that's where they live, and they all start kind of pouring in. And they come in through these channels and they come in everywhere possible. And when that happens, all of these plus charges kind of enter this negative space and make that voltage a lot more positive. So suddenly, instead of it being negative 0.7, we get a rise, and it ends up a little higher. So we end up at like negative 0.4. So it's a little bit less negative. And as we have more sodium ions coming in, we end up going through this peak where it gets really positive. And at a certain point, we have had so much sodium come in that the cell is like, whoa, that's not working. And there were these little potassium ions hanging out inside. And these potassium ions are like, I am leaving. There's too much of a crowd here. I don't want to be here. And so they all start leaving. And as they leave, all of the potassiums that are also positive, right, they have a little positive on them, start bringing that voltage back down. And so we get to see this nice curve. And so we get to come back to where we started. If these channels stay open and we still have a ton of sodium coming in and a ton of potassium going out, it's like our neuron or nerve is oversaturated and can't process anything. So the time it takes for that nerve or neuron to kind of get back to that resting spot is going to determine when it can respond again to another stimulus.